Hello. I would like to talk about something personal. Um, this was composed the day before I thought I was going to rehab. Um, Events didn't go as planned at all. So my plan was to go to rehab, come out of rehab, and go on a trip to Peru to try ayahuasca. Um, but it didn't work out that way. Um, my case manager that was supposed to do that helped me with that. Totally dropped the ball and I didn't fight it. I decided to take matters into my own hands. I fasted. I fasted for an entire month from this moment until the day that I landed in Maryland, exactly a month later. Um, and so I quit using by fasting. I actually lost some weight too. I lost about 15 pounds. Okay, so this was written to the man of the hour, and he received it. And about a month and a half later, we met, and yeah, so this was written July 6, 2019 at 5:23 p.m. or a.m. actually. See? See the date there? I like showing the date because it's so important. Okay. All right. So, you said if the universe has something in store, you'll address it then. It wasn't for you to address, sir. The universe led me to you, not the other way around. I recall you coming up in my suggested friends. I don't get an outpouring of friend requests. If I do, they're often declined, and I certainly do not send any. I don't care if I know a person personally. I'm very protective of my energy on and off of the internet. I have had my Facebook for a little over a year and haven't gotten past 170 friends. I rarely click on suggestions, and all suggestions that come through have mutuals. My new friends are moderately popular. My few friends are moderately popular. That made you stand out because I wanted to know where you came from. I don't know you or of you, and nobody I know knows you either. Curiosity was lit, and I take a look. I was surprised that you look exactly like someone I already love everything about. It wasn't love at first sight in terms of attraction to your appearance. I've already loved it, and I found myself peeking at you a little more each day, slowly replacing the other face, and I don't even know you. So I send a request. I find myself again peeking at your page, but at this point, it's to laugh at your memes. I would react to every single one if social media etiquette considered that acceptable. I appreciate sexual, crude, and dark humor. Your page is a goldmine for that. I start an occasional flirt that I didn't intend but couldn't resist. I'm in your comments, watching you interact, and where genuine interest began. I asked to join your group on Band. I asked to follow you on IG, even traveled to your other Facebook. There's a couple problems though, and that's distance. The thought of you had only remained a thought. From a glance, it looks like you are into what I'm into. I didn't glance though, I studied. I did enough prior to making a sexual advance, It just happened to be where I started with you. I coincidentally found myself in Maryland due to the time constraints, pure lust, and a desire for instant gratification. Also, the idea that I won't be there again, if at all. I wanted to taste you once, perhaps never again. I was fully prepared to perhaps link with you and live the rest of my life pining if I never got another chance. At this point, I see myself as a passerby and not really anything that can be consistent. My plans at this time are to remain in Ohio, stop back through to get my son. But as my children's fathers and I discuss the best course of action to restructure my life and what's best for each child, my plans begin to change. I have a dear friend in Texas that has been begging me to move there for years. My eldest child has lived with his father for some time here, and I used that as an excuse to stay planted in Ohio. I met my youngest child's father in Ohio. I didn't even know he lived in Maryland when we met, and he intended to move to Ohio when we conceived, but his plans changed. And for the entire duration of my son's life, he's asked me to move also. I would never leave my kids for a man, even if I truly desired him. I have met a few along the way. The vibe is right, but they don't want to leave where they are, and I wasn't going to leave either. The only incentive to leave is my child, and the path has been created in order to do that. After the attraction solidified for me, and I was impressed by your read of this woman in your comments, I was set to find more proof of your quality. I came across your ambition. Your hands are certainly in a lot of places. I wanted to discuss any possible advice regarding your t-shirt and tutu businesses. I have a concept for character and graphic design shirts featuring people of color. I could actually go far with this idea. I thought of creating books or comics for some of the characters. I shop at Old Navy and brands of the like for my children and find myself frustrated with only choosing animals, cartoon characters, and random graphics to avoid anything that features only Caucasian characters. But not many Black characters can be found. Gotta shop around and it's too hard to get. Fine, I'll make it. I don't want this because I'm racist or prejudiced. I just noted that my children seem to naturally pick up wanting certain features or having a preference towards Caucasian influencers. No matter how pro-Black my environment, it's far more mainstream. The concept is simply for representation of self. I have a biracial child and I was raised in a white community. I truly have no qualms for most white folk. A lot of them don't see an issue with themselves, racism, or the idea of keeping their image in view because we were all raised on the same books and media. They are as brainwashed as any house nigga, and because of the lack of melanin in their physiological makeup, they will have far more trouble awaking. Their DNA does not successfully transfer memories and instincts. It's why they still run to gunfire instead of away. It's why programming for people of color is wearing away in large numbers because our memories have transferred down, causing us to look deeper and quell our curiosity. I have only thought of the concept for the t-shirts though, and I never looked into where to start. I found the idea resurfacing when hearing of your own ventures. That whole paragraph was so interesting because I talked about like 3 or 4 different things in one paragraph. But anyway, you're a personal fitness trainer, which happens to be my goal by the end of the year. It's the easiest certification to obtain to get started anywhere. I have a few ideas for natural products where that's concerned, but I can't push anything without some sort of degree or certification to say I know what I'm talking about. Because, society is obsessed with pieces of paper. Never mind self-education. They can't tax that. The products are flops without it. Getting certified is a technicality. I have a lot of trainers in my circle. I've already picked up a lot of knowledge just from the acquaintances, not including my own studies. Right now, I am actually working out and my phone is off, so I don't have any directives. But I've been consistently working out for years. I just can't keep momentum and stamina. So I know plenty of routines. I know plenty of I understand plyometrics enough to be able to train myself. And that's why I wanted to be a fitness trainer, because that's mostly what I was sleeping with. I was sleeping with a lot of fitness trainers. They're so hot. Anyway, um, you are already doing things that I'm interested in doing. And I know people doing things I want to do, but they don't seem to have an interest in guiding anyone else. Certain things I notice about you lead me to believe that you might be willing to indulge me in this way. I don't find myself to be impressive in terms of possessions or current position in life. I find myself to be impressive in mindset. Heads on straight, screws are a little loose. The rehab is applying a screwdriver. I'm not ever in a position that I can't create and seize opportunity. I simply fumble it once obtained. And by the way, what I learned just living everyday life over the last couple years did way more than anything that rehab would have done for me, because our system is not designed to heal. So the move to Maryland that I have decided upon after my completion of therapy is primarily to work unlimited. Without the kids, I'm free to work, and I have a history of working around the clock. I was very attracted to your note of working multiple jobs, not because of financial potential, but more for your understanding of constricted time. My greatest feat was working a call center 10 to 6 and another 7 to 12, and a home health stint for weekends 8 to 8. Not a lot of time for other things, and I hope to secure a setup like that once I get there. My decline began shortly after I got into this grind, and I can blame it all on continued and riddled bouts of drug use. I tend to make a lot of money with nothing to show for it. Often will get into a rhythm of making so much money. I have to, and only a figment of my imagination, find a way to keep my pace without second thought to my well-being. I often use drugs and substances to do that, to harness ultimate multitasking, to stay awake, relieve stress, and for the occasional celebration. As I get older, it gets taxing, costs me more money as I build tolerance, and it ultimately affects my vibration and my ability to set intention. I first noted the inability to lose weight. I understand that I'm older, but I'd make these brilliant diet, and I prefer the term lifestyle changes, great workout routines, consulting my physician, working with my friends, and I have been the same weight for 6 years with no results. Even nursing after my last 2 children didn't have an impact on my ability to lose. No health issue has been found that would affect that. I'm on disability for depression and other mental illness for the last 5 years, but I have recently realized how circumstantial my mental state is. It's not an illness of the mind, but a symptom of spiritual illness. What? I closed it. What? Oh, the snow?
Yeah!
Yeah. I told you it was snowing. Okay, go back because your TV is really loud. I need you to close that door back, please. I'm glad you like it. If it snows enough, we can go play in it. I think it is going to snow enough because... Yeah, once it's done snowing. Please close my door.
Oh, I forgot.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, side note, I said it's not an illness of the mind, but a symptom of spiritual illness. So I recognized, I didn't know that it was going to be all this. I didn't know it was going to be all this, but I recognized that there was something going on with my spirit. Like, it was clearly apparent to me that I was experiencing some type of spiritual binding. I go on to say, you know, I'll have to fix the spirit first, then the mind, the body will follow. And what we find out is that this actually started in the mind, and it's the other way around. But this, at least I went in with some kind of understanding. Okay, so I've maintained disability payments because though I will go through times of extreme productivity and momentum, I burn out and lack consistency. Until I can prove consistency, the checks will continue to come without any decrease in amount. This allows me a lot of time of inactivity without hurting my financial foundation, and I find it more useful than ever taking this new path. The last and final blow came when I began having trouble meditating. It led me to have the same conversation 3 times with 3 people that I believe not only know me better than anyone, but also who I consider to be my own personal guides. Expressing something is wrong, I can't meditate. And they keep telling me, you're doing it wrong. You keep saying you can't, you're only making it harder on yourself. I am 99% right at all times. 99.9% right, actually. That's why it's easy for me to apologize and take accountability, because my level of being wrong is so minimal. It's easy. I'm not the common tourist. But anyway, I chuckle at calling these chuckleheads guides because they teach me and lecture me plenty with their epics concluding in, but you aren't going to listen anyway, and I don't. They simply guide me to look for the right answers. Yeah, I came upon a few. Okay, so first, drug use of any kind is due to lack of chakra alignment, period. No matter how infrequent the use, the idea that it'll take the edge off, create euphoria, quell stress, give the ability to focus, etc., is the mind's way of justifying the use of the medication. Your mind tells you that you need these things to recreate abilities that you already are designed to do under the circumstance of perfect alignment. I have had entirely too many drugs in the last 18 years. And when I say that, what I mean, honestly, it's the weed and the cigarettes that plagued me. But what I was going to rehab for was cocaine, and I had used cocaine before. When I was going through the custody battle with my oldest son. It was for 10 months. I found I was pregnant with my daughter and stopped, and then didn't touch it again until April of 2019. And that's why I started using it for all the reasons that I said. But then, I would drink, socially. I would have bouts of alcoholism, but I wasn't an alcoholic. So I would go through phases where I drank very heavily by myself. But then it would just wear off, but doing this all over and over and over again. So it's showing in my skin. Vitamin C evaporates as soon as it hits my bloodstream. My body can't process glutathione or any nutrient for that matter. I'll get a small cut and it takes forever to heal. Smokers, people who have COPD lack glutathione, and glutathione receptors are in your lungs. And glutathione also assists in processing vitamin C. And most smokers are lacking in the B complex, C, vitamin C, and glutathione. And especially glutathione, because glutathione and cigarette smoking, like if you have a glutathione rich diet, you cannot possess nicotine in your system. Like they can't coexist. So that is why I said I can't process glutathione, because those two things, it depletes that. It messes with the glutathione receptors. So you wouldn't, that's why people get COPD. Okay, so this buildup didn't immediately affect me. I still made money. I still did well. I still manifested, and I still looked good. But there are things that happen to my body, like childbirth, that assisted in deterioration. Go potty. Why are you bouncing around? Just go. And it's like weird because you have your own bathroom. You didn't have to come in here.
I had to.
Okay.
Because if I stay in my bathroom,
I still made money. I still did well. I still manifested and I still looked good. But there are things that happened to my body, like childbirth, that assisted in deterioration. Adding more traumas caused a dent to each chakra, a buildup of negative energy, toxins from drugs, and there's literally no way to access my inner self. The channel is blocked. The more time I spend away from her, it is as if I am a hollow shell with nothing left but ego, and I can't really run on that too much longer. Wash your hands, please.
I went potty.
I know, wash your hands, please.
Do you like potties?
Potties are cool. Make sure you flush the toilet and wash your hands.
Oh, I.
I hope to fix this issue with rehab, isolation, extreme fasting, intense counseling, and creation. I have a goal to come out of there with a book drafted. I'm already going in with an EP recorded. There is also the issue of an excessive amount of soul ties. I mentioned I had long-term arrangements with multiple partners. I have a tendency to recycle lovers even if their benefit to me has run out. The bond has not. I can literally think them up. I'm linked unnecessarily. When my soul calls them back, they mostly turn into distractions at this point. Though I haven't had a lot of sexual experience that is completely in line with my preferences, I only attract what is essentially compatible. Every compatibility chart, in theory, is a perfect match. My lack of success in creating relationships is always a result of a lack of alignment of inner self, whether it be myself or the other party. You're done.
This takes a long time to take a video.
Okay. You're done. It takes me longer when you interrupt because I have to start over. What happens is a lot of unrequited love. Someone is always left forlornly, and less often it is myself. I was a skeptic at my ability to love romantically up until recently. In fact, I consider that individual to be the catalyst of the beginning of my journey. Before heading to my retreat in Peru, it's necessary to abstain from sex for 3 weeks. I imagine abstaining during my time in rehab for a minimum of 60 days will strengthen my experience. I presented only ideas, but my journey that I am setting out on in this perfect alignment with the universe. There are events that happened to me within the last 7 years that I used to question and wonder about that only made sense once I decided to embark upon this. Numbers of synchronicity jump out at me with every action I take and allow me to speak to you with this level of transparency and certainty. I do not have certainty of the level of relationship that will come between you and I. It could end up being strictly business, but I am very certain that a relationship of any capacity between us is in the stars. I've said quite a bit here, but it's because the time it would take for you to make a decision about me, we don't have. And since I also do not see my move as permanent, it could possibly limit the time we could spend while I'm there. I would love to warm you up to me for the next 3 months with random drop-ins in your inbox until you finally decide to fuck with me, but I won't be available for that roundabout. And I'm not saying like rush into anything, but I do need you to at least come to a decision about meeting me when I get back. You can't tell. You have not met her. Even in this current deteriorated state, I am the most attractive thing to walk into a room, flaws and all. And if not, I beat the individual in personality. I do not come across a lot of people with my level of over or understanding. I am not plagued with insecurity or unrealistic ideals. In my most ideal state, the statement simply is I'm the most attractive, charismatic, and intelligent person in the room. Period. No competition. I don't consider anyone a threat, even when wounded. I do realize that your status can change, and I'm not asking you to wait for me to resurface. I'm asking that you do not turn down or blow off my invitation to meet you, and I'll only ask if I accomplish what I set out to do because I also understand it's really the best way to capture your attention. I appreciate you reading this. It might come off a little bit excessive and obsessive. Keep in mind that I have a lot of time during my transition, so I can place focus on whatever. It's 5 a.m. and I simply chose to focus on you. But 3 months or so of my absence will certainly balance that out. So take care. Yeah, I didn't end up going to rehab though. Like I said, there were issues with the insurance and she completely like just fell out of my life. I feel like it was a setup for real. But I found out I couldn't go to rehab and I immediately started fasting because that was already part of the plan. So I started fasting, and I was led to go to Maryland, and I arrived in Maryland. I cannot believe it's 2022. Oh my God. Happy New Year. I ended up in in Maryland on August 4th, 2019, and he and I met on August 6th, 2019. So, yeah, that is just some. I knew what I was. It just shows that I actually am very much aligned with myself. Sometimes I listen to my song Addicted. I listen to that song Addiction maybe. It's called Escape Artist on the video is Escape Artist, and that's the rough. I actually have a recorded version of that song, excuse me. But I always said like I lack forgiveness and I don't know myself, but this just proves that I always did know myself. Like everything that I've done on my YouTube channel, like from my music to like the things that I've shown you from my Facebook and stuff, like I've always been in tune with myself. And that's probably like my least favorite song because I said she lacks forgiveness and she doesn't know herself sober, but I did. It was the gaslighting that I experienced, and so that song isn't really an accurate depiction. It's coming from a place what everybody was telling me. You don't know yourself. When you go into therapy, they tell you don't know yourself. Yeah, I do. This letter right here, talking to the man of the hour, and he definitely accepted. Like he accepted. I didn't end up doing everything that I planned on doing. I mean, I did actually. I went above and beyond. I just didn't do it how I planned it. It didn't go as planned. Like I didn't go to rehab, but I'm not on drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like I found out what's wrong, why this spiritual issue was happening, the spiritual illness. That's what it is. That's what I set out to do. And it required the relationship with the man of the hour in order to find it. He triggered the fuck out of me. But it was necessary because now I have answers for everybody. And at some point, my daughter told me to just keep focusing on yourself, mommy. Mommy, just focus on yourself. You're going to save us all. That's what she said. And, I had somebody post that little meme, trying to joke about my daughter, You know, people think that your children really don't say things like that, but they do. Children are mediums, and they remain mediums as long as you don't take it out of them. I remember saying things when I was her age that were just out of this world, and now it's like, wow, if they didn't, excuse me, if they didn't hand me a Bible, what would I have been? Because religion, not the Bible, but religion is what caused me to stop doing stuff like that, you know? And, you know, they think that children can't say these incredible things and not know their ABCs. Yeah, they can, because wisdom and intelligence are two different things. So anyway, I'm